from the Jack and Joan Stratter Studio in beautiful CCM at the University of Cincinnati. It's the Dennis Daniels Show. Tonight's guest, voice actor Trevor Devall. And your announcer, me, Belldandy. And now, here's your host. He is the 2011 Bearcast Lifetime Achievement Award winner, Mr. Dennis Daniels.
Is anyone else besides me tired of that Damien Sandow crap? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, you successfully navigate yourself to BearcastRadio.com's greatest talk show segment, The Dennis Daniels Show. I am your host, the entertaining savior of the masses for BearcastRadio.com, and their Lifetime Achievement Award winner for 2011, Dennis Daniel. And folks, we continue on the road to Otakon as part of the Summer of Biggerness 2. Last time on this Daniel Show, we had voice actor Christian Potenza from Total Drama, and it was awesome. Best interview ever. I still can't do that laugh. But anyway, I think tonight's episode will be just as great because tonight on the Dennis Daniels Show, we have voice actor Trevor Devall. Now, for those of you who don't know who Trevor Devall is, he is a very popular voice actor who came on recommendation of Kelly Sheridan, who was on our show last December. For those who don't remember, we talked about her working with other individuals in the industry, and one name that came up was Trevor Devall, who also hosts a voice acting interview podcast called Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and guests. Now, I can't say that Trevor ripped off the Dennis Daniels Show because he's been doing this longer than the Dennis Daniels Show has been airing. So I can't claim that I'm the victim of a conspiracy with little Jimmy because he's been doing it longer than me. I will concede that point. But some of his best-known roles are Mu La Flaga from Gundam Seed, and for all you bronies out there, you may know him as the obsessive-compulsive Prince Blueblood from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. He was also hoity-toity and fancy pants. He has a lot of fancy pony folk there. Anyway, aside from My Little Pony, he's also the new voice of Dukey the Talking Dog from the popular Johnny Test, which you can catch weekdays on Cartoon Network. And of course, he's also in a brand new movie. That's right. New to Canada, not new to the US. It debuted earlier this year, but YTV is just getting the ball on this. You can catch him as Atticus Moon in the popular Big Time movie, the movie based around the popular Nickelodeon series Big Time Rush. He plays Atticus Moon, the villain, and he's kind of like a James Bond thing. So whenever we talk about it, expect to hear a lot of da 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 da. We can't get the rights to the music, so I have to go da 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 da. And I'll probably be going, the name's Daniel, Dennis Daniel. I like my iPod shuffled, not stirred. Okay, well, before we bring Trevor out, I thought it'd be appropriate to familiarize yourself with some of his roles. So I've put together a small demo reel of some of his most noted work. So let's take a quick listen to what makes Trevor Devall so cool.
You know, I don't remember entering any cruise contest.
And you think it sounds fishy. Get it? Ocean, cruise, fishy. Who cares? It's free cruise time, baby! Now, it says here the ship has a ski jump, a 9-hole golf course, and a make-your-own duck factory. What do you want to do first?
I want to figure out how I won this trip when I didn't enter any contest.
Skateboard park it is!
Well, hello. I am Prince Blueblood.
I am Rarity. Oh my, what a lovely rose.
You mean this rose? Thank you. It goes with my eyes.
You, sir, are the most uncharming prince I have ever met. In fact, the only thing royal about you is that you are a royal pain.
Ew! Stay back! I just had myself groomed!
Afraid to get dirty?
That's no joke, friends. Iron Will is so confident that you will be 100% satisfied with Iron Will's assertiveness techniques that if you are not 100% satisfied, you pay nothing. But I pity the fool who doubts Iron Will's methods. You don't doubt me, do you?
No, sir.
That, my friends, is your first lesson. When some pony tries to block, show them that you rock!
Well, well. Big time rush. So nice to finally meet you. Now, won't you meet my associates? Oh. Now, I believe you have something that belongs to me.
Well, I believe that you're never going to get away with what you're trying to get away with, whatever you're trying to get away with is.
Oh, see, that's where you're wrong. Because I get everything. Let's recap, shall we? You have the backpack, but I have you all surrounded. And Maxwell has a silver hammer. I think you know what comes next.
Okay, now that was actually pretty clever. For those who don't know, Maxwell's Silver Hammer was a popular song by the Beatles. It ties into the UK thing, because Big Time Rush is over there, and they got to stop Atticus Moon from taking over the world and getting his hands on a backpack, and he's got a guy named Maxwell, and he's got a hand that's a silver hammer. You think that hammer would have a little end thing there where you can remove the nails. It doesn't. It's just like a sledgehammer. So when that thing comes down, ooh, it's going to hurt like a mother. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get this started. I'm excited because get ready to hear a lot of da-da-da-da-da-da-da throughout the show tonight. My guest tonight is a very accomplished voice actor who could be seen as Dukey from the popular Johnny Test, which you can catch weekdays on Cartoon Network. And he stars as Atticus Moon. Da-da-da-da-da-da. All right, we'll stop doing that, I promise. In the popular Big Time movie, which airs in Canada on July 16th on YTV. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it out. He is the one, the only. He is Mr. Trevor Devall. Mr. Devall, thank you and welcome to the Dennis Daniels Show.
Well, thank you. That was the best intro ever. Thank you so much for that. That was very cool. Very cool.
I try to make every guest on this show feel like a superstar. And with all this cool stuff you've been in and you are going to be in the near future, I gotta make it over the top. It's either go big or go home here.
You've succeeded in going over the top. That was
awesome.
great.
Awesome.
Great. In fact, I love your intro to your show with the whole hallelujah thing and the angels. I think I should do that for me because that's pretty good stuff. I gotta give you the kudos.
Well, actually, here's the story about that. Every episode we do, we switch up the theme because I'm a big pro wrestling fan, so we switched it up with different wrestling entrance themes. And this one was for a guy named Damien Sandow who calls himself the intellectual savior of the masses, and his theme is Hallelujah.
You're welcome.
Well, it was great.
I thought it was pretty good. But anyway, I'm so happy you could be on the show. You came with a very positive recommendation from Kelly Sheridan, who voices Sango from Inuyasha, talking about your podcast, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the program. So anyway, what got you interested in acting?
Well, I've been doing voices and accents and stuff since I was about 5 years old. My older brother used to do this Scottish accent around the dinner table, and when I was about 5 years old, I started imitating him doing it, and I realized that the whole family thought, that was just the cutest thing ever. So I was kind of hooked from that point on. I thought, oh, wow, funny voices and accents. gets you attention. And then that was that. So I just started doing all kinds of, like, little plays in school and stuff like that. And I went to university. I took the drama program there, but I never actually thought that voice acting was a job. It didn't occur to me. I was going to be a stage actor and a film director. That was my thing. But when I moved to Vancouver in '98, I basically just kind of fell backwards into an industry that I didn't even know existed. And, well, the rest, as they say, is history, because I've been working ever since.
I have heard all these different stories from all these voice actors. Sounds like an awesome way to make a paycheck.
I got to tell you, man, it's the best job in the world. Oh, it's the best job in the world. You basically get paid a stupid amount of money to sit around and do silly voices with your friends. Come on, you can't complain. You can't complain.
No, I cannot. BearcastRadio.com. This is the Dennis Daniels Show. We've got Trevor Devall on the air, who you can catch as Atticus Moon, in the popular Big Time movie, which airs in Canada July 16th on YTV. So, do you have any kind of education in acting?
Well, as I said, I did go to university for drama, but that was largely focused on stage stuff. But certainly no specific training when it comes to voice work. That's just... You know, it's weird because there's a really small group of people in town here in Vancouver that do all the work, and it's kind of the same in LA, right? And it's just because people are kind of born with a certain set of tools that they just sort of naturally can use, and when you find, you know, a group of people who are like-minded and who can do these crazy voices that you've sort of been, you know, hiding your whole life, and you realize, oh, I'm not alone. There's other strange people in the world as well, and you get to all be in the same room with all of them. It's very satisfying. Very satisfying.
Well, hey, I've seen the company that you keep, and you keep some pretty crazy company. I mean, it must be a real energy drainer just to have to keep up with Scott McNeil.
Oh, Scotty. Yeah, it's great. I love Scott. I actually just saw him at an audition yesterday, and it's always great because Scott is, you know, he's Scott. He's all over the place, you know. But yeah, no, it is great. There's the talent here in town is fantastic. I mean, guys like Scott McNeil or, you know, Lee Tokar or Tabitha St. Germain. The list goes on and on and on and on. And I'm really, really good friends with a lot of these people too. Like Sam Vincent, for example, is a very, very good friend of mine, and we hang out all the time. And it's great. It's a great situation.
Well, you have to plug us to him so you can try to get him on the show because we've been trying to get Samuel Vincent for a while now.
Oh, yeah. No. I can get you, Sam. Oh, I can get you, Sam.
Yeah. Now, again, but not telling you sure or anything because you're pretty good, too. So how do you prepare... I'm sorry. So, you know, I don't get this kind of energy from the American voice actors. You know, I think we've hit some kind of hilarity vein with interviewing you, Kelly Sheridan, Christian Potenza, Kathy Westluck. I think we've hit some kind of comedic, energetic gold with the Canadian voice actors that I have not seen in the American. American are all, you know, they're all cool, calm. They laugh once in a while, but you guys are just off the charts.
Well, we pride ourselves on being happy people. I don't know what to tell you.
So, how do you prepare to audition for a voice acting role?
Well, it depends what it's for, obviously, but typically what happens is they'll give you a description for the character and a picture, and for me, I just kind of go off my instinct. I see the description, I see the picture, and right away a voice sort of suggests itself to me, and I just go with that. I don't like to over-prepare a lot. There's a lot of actors who like to take up, several days and really work the script and stuff. Me, my first take is normally the one they go with, so I like to go in fresh, so I'll just kind of look at the sides of the pieces of script we use to audition, and just kind of glance at them and quickly make my sort of choices and then go in and just have fun, really. That's what it comes down to, is having fun. That's certainly the one thing that all of us up here have in common, is we love our jobs, and it just makes going to work all the better.
Well, like you said, you get paid a unimagined amount of money to do silly voices. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Me neither. Although my mother told me once when I was back in school, she said, one of these days, you're going to have to get a real job, You're going to have to leave school and get yourself a real job. And I said, no, Mother, there is another way. I don't know what that way is, but I promise you I will find it. And I seem to have, so it all worked out.
I like this guy. This guy's awesome. Well, anyway, one of your best-known roles is Mu La Flaga from Gundam Seed. What was it like working on a Gundam series, and what did you think of his character?
There was a sort of running joke when we did Gundam Seed that when I was cast as Mu, me and the director, James, we had this running joke that so many of Mu's lines were so clearly inspired by Han Solo. And so, because he was just that kind of guy. He was, super cool, and he was a kind of hotshot pilot. Hey, I'm the guy who makes the impossible possible. And so every time there was a situation where we could take a line and actually make it a line that Han Solo said in the movies, we would. And we were trying to flip it in the final version there to see if it would pass. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But that was great. That was a great anime to do, and certainly it's been very popular. I get asked about that all the time when I go to conventions and stuff. I've sort of been, made a bit of a career playing those kind of cool guys too, which is good. There are worse things to be known for. I got to tell you, So you got to be the hero. It's a good thing.
That's a pretty good Woody Allen. I gotta tell you that much. That's pretty good, actually. Wow. So he's kind of like Han Solo. So could we insert that gag that Flaga shot first?
Don't you dare.
Come on. Gosh, I don't know if you saw this on the internet, but a true story about that. The blue alien, I think Greedo, was actually a woman.
Oh.
They have a picture on the internet of Han Solo and Guido, and you can see below his feet, and he's wearing high heels.
I'm going to have to keep my eye open for that.
Yeah. That's right. This Daniel Show, ruining childhood since 2009. Okay, now this next question is for all our bronies out there. You've also voiced for the popular My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series, and you've done Prince Blue Blood, Hoity Toity, and Fancy Pants. So you do a lot of upper society ponies in that series. What's it like working on that show, and what do you think of your characters, especially Prince Blue Blood, who is this obsessive compulsive cleanliness freak?
Well, to tell you the truth, I've done a lot of those episodes over the years, and because they're so spread out, I have a hard time remembering all of the characters I play. And I know that sounds horrible, but the fact is, we work on so many shows up here that it's hard for me to suddenly go back and go, wait a minute, who was Hoity Toity? What did he sound like? I don't remember. I don't even remember anything about Blue Blood. Who I do remember is Fancy Pants, and I remember that specifically because what they wanted was sort of a John Cleese kind of sounding character. And so I went in doing this sort of, the John Cleese sort of thing, and he's very, very upper class and this sort of thing.
Oh, I saw it.
I saw it. Great. What was really great was that I was on some website, and they were talking about that character, and in the comments section, there was people having a debate about whether or not that was really John Cleese. And I was like, well, I'll take that as a compliment, but I won't disabuse them of that notion. But no, kids, it was just me. But that was a lot of fun. I actually played another character on that show called Iron Will, who was
Wait, you were Iron Will?
Yeah, Iron Will.
When someone tries to block, show them that you rock.
That's right, Iron Will.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that.
Yeah.
All right. I love Iron Will.
One of my favorite characters to play because it was like a cross between, Jesse the Body Ventura and Mr. T. So it was kind of a lot of fun to play here.
So would that be, I pity the fool, McMahon?
Exactly.
Oh gosh, no. I was wondering who was Iron Will. Why is that not on your IMDb? I love that.
I'll tell you, man. I've had this running battle with IMDb since I started my career. They get about half the things right and half the things wrong for years. I had to fight them on the credit list for X-Men Evolution about Pryo, because I was Pryo when that show was done around 2001, I guess. And for some reason, they assumed it was Mike Dobson that had done the role. And I wrote them and I said, now listen, I love Mike. He's a great friend and he's a very talented guy. But it was me! It was me! And that didn't get me many results. But yeah, I've had a lot of battles with IMDb over credit, and it drives me crazy.
Oh my gosh! I also loved Pryo too. You could have just torched them, put some IMDb's on the Barbie.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. Boy, this talk show. Oh boy, well, I'm still on. You were Iron Will. That was one of the best episodes of season 2 of My Little Pony. Because for those who don't know, this episode Fluttershy was learning how to be more assertive. And when she goes to see Iron Will about this, he teaches her all these techniques, and she turns into really aggressive. But in the end, it's really awesome. And spoiler alert, she uses the assertiveness she learned to convince Iron Will that she doesn't owe him anything because she wasn't satisfied with what the result turned out. And I thought that episode was so cool because all those catchy one-liners, like, you make me lose, I'll blow my fuse.
That's right.
You should compile a list because I love to have those handy.
Yeah. Never apologize when you can criticize.
Right.
Oh gosh, I think half the audience is going to go stir crazy when they hear that. Oh God, Iron Will was freaking awesome. It was weird because his helpers were goats and they were kind of but. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Anyway, BearcastRadio.com. This is the Dennis Daniel Show. We've got Trevor Devall on the air, best known as Mu La Flaga from Gundam Seed, and now Iron Will from My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic. Now, you're currently voicing Dukey the Talking Dog from the popular Johnny Test, which you can catch every weekday on Cartoon Network. How is the series coming along, and what do you think of Dukey's character as, and this is pretty crazy, a talking dog who loves coffee?
Well, Johnny Test, I was actually a replacement for the original Dukey, who was played by Louis Chirillo. Louis did Dukey for about 4 years, I think. Yeah, because he did it for the first 4 seasons, and then Louis had to get out of the country for a little while. Louis wound up moving overseas for a little bit, and so they needed to replace him. And there was a sort of an audition process to find someone who could not exactly match Louis, but sort of get the feel of Dukey as Louis had created him. So I wound up booking the job, and that was a tremendous experience. So much fun. That show is so tight and so well written and so funny, and just an opportunity to play several characters virtually every episode too. James Arnold Taylor, who plays Johnny Test, as well as many of the other characters on it. He's just a fantastic guy. He's based in Los Angeles, and every now and then he comes up to record an episode with us, and that is just fantastic. I mean, as soon as he walks in the room, me and him, we hit it off. It's perfect because it's like Johnny and Dukey being best friends, and there's James and Trevor hitting it off just as well. It's been a great experience, and I certainly look forward to more Johnny Test. That's for certain.
Yes, well, I can see that energy of you two being friends, Portrayed and Johnny and Dukey, because they're really close and they've been through a lot. And I can remember when the show first came out, I believe it was 2006, and I was still in high school at this time. And I'm looking now, I'm like, I'm out of college, and already the show's still going.
I know, it's been tremendously popular, and that's really rare with cartoons. Barring the giant ones like Simpsons and Family Guy and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Typically, cartoon series on, like kind of kids shows, I guess, if you want to call it that, they tend to maybe do 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and then that's about it. So Johnny Test doing 5 seasons was just crazy, like unbelievably successful. So obviously people dig it, which is very cool to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like Johnny Test. I don't get to watch it as much as I can, but when I do get the chance to watch it, it's pretty good. And how they keep the show so fresh is beyond me. And there's always some new crazy concept, or Johnny's sisters want him to try some new experiment they've invented and it goes horribly awry, or we see Bling Bling Boy come back and try to get Susan, or the Veginator, or the Mole King. Again, some really kooky characters for this cartoon, and I think that's one of the reasons that it's still going strong, especially here in the United States, because it's just over-the-top antics that you normally don't see in and I think it's kind of like a herald back to the, the Bugs Bunny era. You have the over-the-top antics and in the real-life situations, and I think that's why Johnny Test is so popular.
I agree with you. And Scott Fellows, who's the creator of both Johnny Test and Big Time Rush, actually, he is very much a student of the Bugs Bunny era, just like I was. So it's really great working with Scott because we have the same sense of humor when it comes to that kind of stuff. And like just the like Bugs Bunny was super fast paced and just really smart, and it really feels like Johnny Test is written with that spirit in mind. So it's a tremendous privilege to be the voice of a talking dog who likes his coffee.
You mean to tell me there's a dog that can talk? I believe it. You can't go wrong with a talking dog. I mean,
no, come on, it's gold.
Yeah, it's a talking dog, but a talking dog that loves coffee. Oh man, ladies and gentlemen, this is why the rest of the world hates us.
Although I suppose it could be said that Brian on Family Guy is also a talking dog that likes his coffee as well as his other things.
But unlike Family Guy, Johnny Test doesn't involve itself with self-pretentious crap about religion and politics and the economy, and that's stuff that makes Brian look like an over-the-top douchebag.
Well, certainly Dukey doesn't have any controversial things to be said. So
the only controversial thing from Dukey is pooping on the floor.
This is true.
I'm sorry. Well, anyway, aside from the voice acting, you also host a podcast called Voiceprint with Trevor Devall Guests, which is about interviewing voice actors and their experience in the industry, and you also take listener questions on those who want to be voice actors. So, and you've been doing this since 2007, so it's kind of like a precursor to what my show actually came out to be. So, what got you interested in doing this podcast? Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, I started the podcast, I think it was 2005, I think was the first time I did an episode. But what had happened was I was doing a lot of conventions at the time, and I found that we were always getting asked the same kinds of questions at these conventions. Like how'd you get in the business? What's it like to work with these people? What are some funny stories from the booth? That kind of stuff. And so I thought, you know what? I bet you I can do a show where I talk to my colleagues just like we do at the conventions, except it'll be one-on-one, and we can answer the questions directly from the listeners when they write them in, and it'll be kind of like having their own little private convention interview. Was the idea behind it. And I thought, who better to do this than someone who's in the club, in the community, who knows all these guys. So my very first sort of pilot episode was with Sam Vincent. As I said, Sam and I have been very close friends for many, many years. And so I thought, Sam, come on, let's try this out. I got this crazy idea where we'll do this interview show, and we'll talk about your career, and we'll just riff and be silly, and that's pretty much what it was. And the response was overwhelming from the listeners. They were like, you got to do more of these. We love it. So originally it had started out as just a 6-episode thing. It was just going to be 6 episodes, like a little self-contained thing, and then 6 episodes turns into 7, turns into 10, turns into 15, and I think we just did our 32nd one or something. I had been doing maybe 1 or 2 a month in the beginning, but as schedules have become crazier over the past couple of years, it's been harder to keep that pace. So now, the fans are lucky if they get one every 5 months or something like that. But it's not dead. I do try and to keep it going for sure. My next guest is going to be Mark Oliver, who himself is a very, very successful voice actor and a friend of mine as well. So yeah, it's been a great experience, and I get fan mail from listeners all over the globe, from Germany and the Philippines and Australia and the States and Canada, obviously, and it's been a good experience.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the guests you've had. You had quite some great guests on there. You've had Scott McNeil, Brad Swale, Vic Mignogna, who's also been on our show, Kelly Sheridan, who has been on our show, Kirby Morrow, a favorite of mine, Kathy Westlock, who we just had on in February, Kyle Aber, Gary Chalk, Paul Dobson. You had the cast of Voltron Force, which was awesome, including Ashley Ball, who plays Applejack and Rainbow Dash in My Little Pony. Right. David Kay. You've had a lot of really cool guests on your show, and I bet that each of them have a different story of how they got into voice acting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the fascinating components for me doing that show is hearing everybody's story. Because again, I know these guys and these girls, and I've worked with them many, many times over the years. But you don't really get a chance to sit down and really dig into their history and how it was that they came into the business. So for me, I think it's just as fascinating for the fans because it's the first time I'm hearing it too. And because they're all so talented and funny, the show is very light. And there's a lot of laughs to be had. So yes, I've been very lucky in my guests.
Well, I agree because, normally at a convention you don't get a chance to have these one-on-one conversations. Usually like, say this, say that, sign this, sign that, call my friend and talk to him in a certain voice. And you never get a chance to actually get to know them. And that's kind of like why I want to do the Dennis Daniels show. I want to get my voice actors, sit them down one-on-one, talk to them about, serious issues in voice acting, how they got their start, what they have advice for their fans out there who want to get their start in voice acting, and see what they're doing outside of voice acting. So again, that's why I love doing this show. We don't have as much feedback as you've gotten, but I'm happy with what I've gotten.
Well, that's cool. Keep it up, man. I'm just glad that there's another podcast out there that's doing the same kind of thing that I am, because for a long time, I was the only game in town, and I was like, what? Are you kidding? There's got to be somebody else out there. So when Kelly told me about your show, I was like, oh, well, that's great. I'm glad that more of this stuff is happening.
Well, Kelly told you about me? Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yes, you're famous now.
Did she mention that song go through her boomerang through one of our soundproof glass windows?
Well, that's Songo.
Yeah, that happened. That happened. Of course, you were also in Inuyasha as well. You played Mukotsu, the Poison Master from the Band of Seven, and Ryokotse, for those who don't know, is who Inuyasha has to defeat to learn the powerful Backlash Wave.
That's correct. Although when I finally saw that episode where I was the giant dragon, they affected my voice so much in post-production that it could have been anybody. And I was like, no! Come on! No! Okay, at least I know it's me.
Well, you gotta have that you gotta have that voice that, I mean, if it sounded like a little girl, no one would take it seriously. This is some serious drama over here, Trevor. You gotta make it sound like a deep and powerful and evil bad guy. And that's why, boys and girls, we have Audacity. Or Pro Tools, or Avid.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Pick your poison. Pick your audio poison.
Yeah. Ironic, Mukotsu, audio poison.
It's a Thursday.
Yeah. BearcastRadio.com. This is the Dennis Daniels Show. We've got voice actor Trevor Devall on the air, best known as Mu La Flaga from Gundam Seed, and now apparently Iron Will from My Little Pony. That's so awesome. It's Iron Will. So anyway, let's get into this. This is actually big news for Canada. You play the lead villain, Atticus Moon, in the popular Big Time movie, which airs the 16th of July on YTV. So I believe it actually airs this upcoming Monday. So
I think you're right, yes.
So what was it like to go from voice acting to live action, and what can we expect from this movie for those who have not seen it?
Well, I don't really do a lot of on-camera stuff. I used to, but then I just got so busy with the voice world that it didn't make any sense for me to continue. But what had happened was, because Scott Fellows, who, as I said, is the creator of both Johnny Test and Big Time Rush, he knew me through Johnny Test, and so they were casting for this role of Sir Atticus Moon, who's this big James Bond villain type, with the white suit and the stroking of the cat and the whole bit. And they were looking for people all through L.A., and they couldn't find anybody. And they came up here to Vancouver where they were going to shoot it, and they looked all through Vancouver. They couldn't find anybody. So finally Scott decided, well, you know what I need to do? I'm going to talk to the cartoon guys, because they're always the funniest guys. So he didn't know what I looked like, because we never actually met in person. We'd only ever talked on the phone. So he randomly Google searched me, and there was some brooding picture of me out there somewhere, and he went, oh yeah, Trevor looks evil. That'll be perfect. So he brought me in, and I was just like, what am I doing here? This is for an on-camera. I don't know what to do. So I went in and just did my thing, and they loved it, and so they cast me, and that was great. It was a tremendous experience. We shot for about a month, both here and in the city of Victoria. So much fun dealing with not only the Canadian crew here, but also the American cast of Big Time Rush. I mean, the four boys and Shallon Cates, who plays the mother, along with the rest of them. This was just a great, great experience for me, because these guys had done 2 seasons of this series down in L.A., and they had all known each other so well, and, they have got this great vibe. They all work together so well, very talented, all of them. And so to be part of that, to sort of be included in their family for the duration of the shoot was just a tremendous experience. And I'm still very good friends with Shallon. I see her every time I go down south to L.A. as well. And so that was a lot of fun. And the show did very well. Apparently, when it aired in the States back in March, it aired to something like 13 million viewers or something. So that's pretty huge. It's pretty huge. But YTV is finally doing the Canadian premiere on the 16th. So looking forward to seeing that on Canuck Vision, eh? Totally.
Oh, yeah. You're watching that big-time movie there, Atticus Moon there. That's great there, eh? I can go woot the boot and go watch your TV there in the mall, yeah. I have no idea what the hell I just said. Then again, how's that different from any other episode of this program? So, what can we expect? Is there going to be a lot of explosions? I've seen a clip of it on YouTube, and the Maxwell Silverhammer. Now that's actually pretty funny.
Well, it is a very, very, very well made show. I have to say, when I saw the screening of it in March, I didn't know what to expect. I knew it was going to be really silly, really over the top, and it was, but in a good way. I was actually laughing out loud, and not just at my own parts, but at the whole thing. Like, I was like, this is actually very funny stuff. It's kind of like Big Time Rush is very much inspired by the Monkees from back in the 60s. You know, it's that kind of humor. It's really, really over the top stuff. It's kind of like a living cartoon. So it turned out really well. There's a lot of chases. There's a lot of, gunfights, sort of. They're not really guns. They're more like laser blaster things that don't really kill anybody because it's a kid show, But it is really, really fast-paced, lots of laughs. The boys do a great job with the Beatles songs that they sing. It was a lot of fun for me to play this over-the-top British villain, being very, very masterful and wanting to take over the world as I did. And it was a good time. And I think that any Canadian fans of Big Time Rush who haven't seen the movie yet should certainly tune in on the 16th because they will not be disappointed.
And that's Big Time Movie on YTV, July 16th. So you are not going to want to miss it. And miss this guy who plays Atticus Moon. Just for one more time. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. I'm hooked on that. Okay. Anyway, we have a few listener questions now. Are there any characters that you think you resemble personality-wise?
Personality-wise? Iron Will, clearly.
Oh, gosh.
I probably resemble all of my characters personality-wise at some level, right? I mean, every time we take a role, it ultimately is an expression of a bit of ourselves. But really resemble personality-wise, I don't know. We'll go with Mu La Flaga just because I like to fancy myself a bit of a ladies' man.
And remember, kids, Flaga shot first. I'm sorry. It would be pretty cool to see Mu La Flaga, frozen in carbonite. That would be pretty cool, actually.
That's true. Well, any budding artists out there, by all means, send me a picture. I'd love to see that.
I haven't seen Gundam Seed, but did you ever get a chance to say, "Don't get too cocky back there, kid"?
We had a line that was very similar to that. And honestly, I can't remember exactly what it was. It was so many years ago now. But I remember there was a line very, very similar to that. And as soon as I saw that in the script, me and the director both just burst out laughing because we were like, oh, of course. Of course.
After hearing that, I'm picturing Mir Campbell going, "I love you." And then Mula going, "I know."
Yeah, there's a lot of that, too. A lot of that.
So many Han Solo parodies right for the making. Let's see if we can get some of these listeners a chance to get some fan art out there of this. Okay. Do you have a favorite character that you've portrayed?
Yeah, lots of them. Actually, Iron Will, again, is one of my favorite characters. He was only a one-off. He only ever appeared in that one episode, but it was so much fun to play. Dukey's been great. Actually, I just played a character that is just being released now, actually. Marvel did a version of Joss Whedon's Astonishing X-Men, and I'm Colossus in that. And that was a great, great honor to be part of that whole process. So that was certainly a favorite character of mine.
Was it really astonishing? Well, I mean, or was it somewhat astonishing?
Oh, it was totally astonishing.
It's ironic. You go from playing Pryo, who is a pyrotechnical nut job, to Colossus, who he's kind of like a pre-Iron Man because he can just shoot out the iron.
That's right. Although he's a lot less cocky.
I think Colossus would be more of the real life Iron Man. But that wonders who would win in a fight, Colossus or Iron Man. It's about all the Iron Men.
This is true. The Battle of the Iron Men.
Colossus or Iron Man? I'd have to give it to Colossus just because that's not armor. That's his actual part of his body. Actually, I mean, Iron Man's got to wear put on a suit. His armor can get crushed like a peanut. I give it to Colossus. Then again, I'm not a big comic nut.
Iron Man can run out of juice. Yeah. Colossus don't run out of juice.
Yeah, unless it's turnip juice because he's a Russian and.
This is true. Perhaps it is true. Juice he runs out.
Those Vidania. Well, anyway, are there any new projects that you're working on that you can tell us about?
There's a bunch of new projects I'm working on, and none of them I can tell you about. Fortunately, the companies that we work for tend to be really, really careful with non-disclosure agreements. So, unfortunately, I'm not at liberty to talk about it, and I'd love to because they're very exciting. But talk to me in a year, and I can tell you all about them. But right at the moment, no, I'm afraid I can't divulge.
That's totally cool. Hey! Never apologize when you can criticize. Gosh, don't be sorry. Be assertive. Again, there should be a second episode with Iron Will. He was such a lovable character.
I think he should have his own series.
Yeah, I could. My Little Pony, Iron Will is magic. Or My Little Iron Will, quotes are magic. Or assertiveness is magic. And he even does the little the swide dance.
That's right. I'm in. I pitch it. I love it.
Yeah. So, are there any new conventions that you're appearing at that you can tell us about? Or any upcoming appearances?
Not coming up. I've been on a bit of a hiatus from conventions just because, again, my schedule's been so crazy with so many other projects. I haven't had a lot of time to take to leave Vancouver for any length of time. But I think next year I'm going to hit the circuit again a little bit because I miss it. I miss talking to the fans and being part of that whole experience. And I love, going down to the States and meeting the American actors and my colleagues down there. So, yeah, nothing coming up soon, but hopefully next year I'm going to get back on that.
I think one con you should hit is Bronycon because it just happened a couple of weeks ago, and those guys are loving their My Little Pony. And I think if you got down there and were Iron Will, I think they would just blow the roof off that convention center.
Well, I'll tell my agent. Get me down there. The Bronies need me.
Yeah. Actually, we do have one listener request, and apparently found out it was Iron Will. Would you say, as Iron Will's my name, trading ponies is my game?
Well, of course, it'd be my pleasure. Iron Will's my name. Trading pony is my game.
What a darling little catchphrase.
Well, anyway, Trevor, before we go, we like to ask all our guests, we come from the College Conservatory of Music here at CCM at the University of Cincinnati, and we have a lot of theater majors, drama majors, vocal majors. Do you have any advice for those who want to get their start in the voice acting industry?
Absolutely. You've probably heard this a million times before, but it's entirely about having fun, and it's entirely about trusting your instincts and just not being afraid to look silly. There's a little rule that we have in the business that if you're afraid to look silly, you will look silly, right? Like you've just gotta go for it when you're, playing with these characters and stuff. And remember too that the phrase voice acting, the most important word in it is acting, not voice. Really, you have to be an actor first, and you have to understand how to play a character. The funny voice and everything is great, but it has to come after an understanding of how to actually be an actor in that scene.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, essentially, being a voice actor is silly. I mean, that's the process. That's the method behind the madness. You're doing a character that can be over the top silly, and you have to be able to look that character in the face and take a chance of getting silly. Because if you're not ready to get silly, then why are you doing voice acting in the first place?
Well, exactly.
I mean, with such roles as Hot Dog from Crypto the Super Dog. It's a dog that gets all hot and shoots fire. That's crazy right there.
That was crazy. That was a lot of silliness too. Playing hot dog, let me tell you.
And Boris Tyrannosaurus from Dinosaur Train, which is a really how can dinosaurs pilot trains. They don't have the dexterity. A Tyrannosaurus has tiny little arms. How can it grip the brake or the whistle? It makes no sense.
And yet it's a hit.
I can't wait for the episode when the comet hits.
Ooh,
dark.
That's right. The series finale.
Yes, dark. Yes, but entertaining as all get out. Oh boy. Well, Trevor, thank you so much for being on my program. Now, for my friends who wants to know, where can they catch Voiceprint with Trevor Devall and guests?
Oh, excellent question. Well, it is on iTunes, absolutely for free. Just do a search of Voiceprint with Trevor Devall, and it'll come up. As I said, we've got about 32 or 33 episodes now, I think. All of them free. They're all about an hour and a bit long. They vary depending on how verbose my guests are. But or they can get it from there, or they can listen to it live on my website, which is trevordevall.com, and all of the episodes are listed there as well, and they can listen right off their browser.
And of course, we'll link that to the Altis Explosion website. Check out Johnny Test every weekday on the Cartoon Network. Check out Big Time Movie this Monday, July 16th on YTV in Canada. I'm sure you can find it on the internet somewhere on nick.com if you're here in the United States. If not, you're going to have to wait until they air it in another mini movie marathon like they typically like to do. Well, anyway, Trevor, thank you so much for being on the show. It was truly a huge honor, and maybe in the near future we'll have to have you on so you can tell us a bit more about all those awesome roles you're doing that you can't tell us about.
It would be my pleasure to return.
All right, folks, this is going to do it for the Dennis Daniels Show. And as always,
I pity the fool that doesn't subscribe to this podcast.
Good night, everybody.